Very good morning to all dear students of MSc final class. Yesterday we started learning a little about the Bloch theorem, and I told you that Schrodinger equation is a differential equation of second order. So it has two independent solutions, and let us assume these solutions are represented by fx and gx. Hence, the general solution of this equation, which I wrote for any particle moving in a potential v. And we know that in the terms of f and g, one can write down the wave function as a linear combination. So let psi x is represented as a fx plus b gx, where a and b are some coefficients. Then psi x plus a, where a is the period of the function, it will be a f x plus a b g x plus a. Since v is periodic, so fx plus a and gx plus a will also be a possible solution of the Schrodinger equation. And in this condition, dear students, these solutions can be given by linear combination of fx and gx. So exactly in the same fashion as I told you about psi x, fx plus a can be written as alpha 1 fx plus alpha 2 gx, and gx plus a can be written as beta 1 fx plus beta 2, where alpha 1 beta 1 alpha 2 beta 2 are some unknown coefficients about which we shall be getting the values later on. Now, using these equations, I can write down psi x plus a here. I have substituted the value of fifth a and fifth b in equation number 4. So I shall get psi x plus a as a times this value plus b times this value, and rearranging it, I will get a alpha 1 plus b beta 1 fx a alpha 2 plus b beta 2 gx. Since a and b are arbitrary, so we can select a and b in such a manner that a alpha 1 plus b beta 1 is equal to some qa, and this is some qb. And so this equation can be rewritten as psi x plus a is equal to qa fx plus qb gx. See here, q fx plus q gx, and this can be written as q times a fx plus b gx. Hence I can say psi x plus a is q times psi x. It means we have to prove that q must have the shape of e plus minus iota ka, and equation 7 have non-vanishing solution for a and b. So determinant of this must be equal to 0. We all know about by the linear equation solutions. So alpha 1 minus q beta 1 alpha 2, you can see here, bring this qa on left hand side, so there will be a multiplied by alpha 1 minus 2 plus beta b, and if I take this term leftward, a alpha 2 plus beta 2 minus b, beta 2 minus q into b. So these are the coefficients whose determinant must be 0, and on solving, you all know, diagonally multiply minus this diagonal, I will get a quadratic equation in q. So q square minus alpha 1 plus beta 1, and now writing equation fifth a and fifth b in determinant form. Here it is, fifth a and fifth b. If I write down it in the determinant form, then I will get f dash, which is the first derivative of f here. Similarly, g dash is delta g by delta x. Since fx and gx are solutions of equation a, so they will satisfy equation a, and if we put these values in equation a, then I will get f double dash x. Here it is, equation a, which I told you yesterday, the Schrodinger equation. and then I will get f double dash x, g double dash x, and this is what I can obtain. These are 11th A and 11th B equations in terms of double derivative of f and g respectively. And if I subtract 11a from 11a, the equation 11b, I shall get a simple equation f g double dot minus g f double dot. Double dot means double differentiation of f and g respectively, and this can be rewritten as d by dx of f g dash minus g f dash. So this must be equal to a constant, because differentiation of any constant is always 0. And then I will get this determinant to be constant. So fx plus a, gx plus a, f dash gx plus, that must be equal to this. And from equation 12 and 10, this is 12th equation, earlier was 10, which I had like this, here it was 10. So if I compare 10 and 12, I shall get alpha 1, alpha 2, beta 1, beta 2 determinant must be 1, and alpha 1, beta 2 minus alpha 2, beta 1 is equal to 1. And then equation 9 becomes q square minus alpha 1 plus beta 2, q plus 1 equal to 0. So q will have these equations. And case first, if alpha 1 plus beta 2 whole square is less than 4, alpha 1 plus beta 2 is less than or equal to plus minus 2, then both roots will be complex, because we all know in any quadratic equation ax square plus bx plus c, if b square minus 4ac must be greater than or equal to 0, only then the equation will have real roots. So if b square minus 4ac is less than 0, then I will get the complex roots, and q1 will be equal to 1 upon q2. So if q1 is e to the power iota ka, then q2 will be e to the power minus iota ka, and this is what we are getting the result. So this is a proof of simple block theorem. This is how one can prove the block theorem, and we shall use this block theorem later on. In the second case, we can also see that it is clear that block theorem valid only when this condition is satisfied, and alpha 1 plus beta 2 has a range of plus 2 to minus 2. Next time we shall consider a new Kroning-Penney model based on this block theorem. Thank you.